to be joined by Cacos. He is the president and the CEO of Blue Sky Uranium. He is one of our favorites on the Global Mining Symposium. We're very happy to welcome back. Nico has over 30 years of executive level management and advisory expertise in the mineral and exploration industry. He's worked with Grosso Group since inception, and he serves as a senior level executive for all of the member companies. His career includes administration, structuring, and strategic planning for public companies. He currently serves as an officer and director of a number of TSX Venture Exchange listed companies. He holds a Master's of International Management degree from Heidelberg, Germany, and a Bachelor of Science degree from UBC. Nico, welcome back to the Global Mining Symposium. How are things with you these days?
Things are well. I must say the feeling is mutual. This is one of my favorite conferences to attend as well.
Well, that's nice when it flows both ways, Nico. Well, you always give us such good insight. I love your overall macro views about the uranium space. So we'll come back to that after your presentation.
Yep.
Pick your brain a little bit, but I pass the mic over to you for the time being.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending this presentation. Today, as we've heard, we're talking about Blue Sky Uranium Corp, a company focused on uranium exploration in Argentina. But what we have with Blue Sky is not your run-of-the-mill uranium explorer. It's not just a single deposit. We have identified a new uranium vanadium district in southern Argentina that has the potential to rank amongst the largest uranium deposits in the world with some of the lowest operating costs, very similar to what we see in Kazakhstan. And I'll have a little more about that in just a little bit. Standard disclaimer here, because there is forward-looking statements in my presentation. And by the way, this presentation is available for download on our company website. In fact, this is an abbreviated version, so it's a more fuller version on our website. Blue Sky, why consider Blue Sky as an investment? Well, as we've heard, uranium market is hot and it's projected to get quite hotter. There's a nuclear reactors being built globally around the world. You know, their supply, they need uranium as their fuel. And the more that they get built, the more uranium is required. And this is creating a real deficit. Because, well, as we'll see a little later on, you know, you can't just flick a light switch and get more uranium out of the ground. The second thing that is important, and I'll talk about it a little later, is about Argentina and how that is one of the best places in the world to have a uranium deposit. And so, because we'll see about the in-country demand there. The project itself, we already have defined an asset there. Just under 23 million pounds of uranium, 11.5 million pounds of vanadium. This is open for expansion, and it looks like, based on the results that we released about a month ago, it looks like it will be increased. The results look extremely positive. And more importantly, just as importantly rather, is that there are targets identified through this entire 145-kilometer property length. It's really truly district scale. And these are the targets that are going to assist to help grow this project in an exponential format. So, like I said at the opening, this is a world-class uranium district with, you know, that has the potential to rank amongst the largest districts in the world. The company itself is, you may have a good asset, but more importantly is the jockey running it, the management team behind it. This Blue Sky, I'm very proud to say, is run by Grosso Group Management Limited. Grosso Group is pioneers of mineral exploration in Argentina since the early 90s. In fact, we're absolutely pivotal in opening up that country and helping get set up in mining exploration. And as a group, we've had a tremendous success in Argentina, having made four major discoveries, two of which are currently in production. One, the world's largest undeveloped silver project, as I understand, is also moving towards production. And of course, our project of the day here, Amario Grande Uranium Vanadium Project, the Blue Skies. And I must add that Grosso Group has been a strong advocate on transparency and strong focus on community relations from day one back in the early 90s, 30 years ago. More specific on the board here of Blue Sky, we've got, well, of course, Chairman Joe Grasso, who's also the founder of the Grasso Group. Joe Grasso has received a Mining Man of the Year. He's been inducted into Argentina's Hall of Fame for miners. So he lends the company a tremendous competitive advantage with extensive contacts throughout the industry and government and throughout. And that really goes a long way in a country like Argentina, ensuring that all our permitting comes into place. And we've never, in the last 30 years, I can proudly say, have had any issues with anything like that. Also on our team, just to touch briefly, is Guillermo Pensado, our Vice President of Exploration. He's also been awarded Exploration Geologist of the Year by his peers in Argentina, an exceptional individual with extensive uranium experience, having worked with Cameco. And last but not least, I'd like to just touch on Chuck Edwards, who was the chief, actually, metallurgist for Cameco for many, many years. He's a world-class individual with world-class talent that's handling all the metallurgy and mineral processing work for Blue Sky. Let's step back and touch a little bit on the uranium market. This graph is pretty self-explanatory. The demand goes up, supply is low. Economics 101 taught me that that's a good cause for a price increase in a underlying product. I mean, the uranium market is not that huge when compared to other commodities, but as we're seeing nuclear reactors being either the lives are being extended, like I was reading this morning, Pickering, Ontario, nuclear reactors looking to get extended as well, or new reactors being built throughout the world in the Far East, in Middle East, and so forth in Europe. There's a huge demand right now for uranium, and uranium that comes from geopolitically safe sources, and that's also helping to exacerbate the demand and supply issue. So the forecast here is that uranium will continue to stay strong and increase over the coming years. Where does most of the world's uranium come from? Well, about half of it seems to come from Kazakhstan, and the balance comes from other jurisdictions like Canada, Australia, Namibia, and we're Blue Sky hoping to put Argentina on this pie chart. And for those who are not aware, the pricing of how you price for uranium, really it's just a contract between a producer and a utility, a nuclear reactor, and they typically make a contract for up to about 15 years, and they pay upwards of 40% premium to the spot price to ensure they have continuity of supply of nuclear fuel for their reactors. Argentina, most investors are not aware, is actually a nuclear country with a history in the nuclear business that goes back almost as long as the United States had, back in the 50s. It's a very sophisticated nuclear country. They are involved in every facet of the nuclear sector, except, of course, for production of uranium. There's no mines in Argentina right now that are producing uranium. So all of Argentina's uranium needs are being imported, and the country pays a premium for that. So this is setting up Blue Sky for a very unique opportunity to be Argentina's first domestic supplier of uranium, as the project, even at this stage, is the largest and most advanced in that country. So let's talk a little bit about the Amario Grande project. This is the uranium vanadium district that we have in Argentina. Here you can see a map of the outline of the property. It is a huge project, 145 kilometer trend by approximately 50 kilometer wide corridor. The Ivana deposit, which was discovered back in 2017, relatively recently, sits really at the bottom right hand of the project. And then after we made that deposit, we started to accelerate the exploration process. We published a resource estimate a year later in 2018, and then a year later in 2019 we published the first preliminary economic assessment and an updated resource. The project itself is situated in province of Rio Negro, which is also a very strong nuclear jurisdiction. They have a state-owned nuclear research lab there. So it's a great place to have a uranium project, which, by the way, that we don't have to wait for all the rules and regulations and for handling nuclear material to be debated in Congress or in Parliament and be implemented. It's already there. So that's a huge time saving in terms of when we're ready to go into production to move forward. So this is a great jurisdiction, despite the barren look on this picture. Because of the bustling oil and gas industry there, there's excellent infrastructure, rail, power, water, and roads. The project itself, this is the thing that really caught my attention, is the geologically very similar to what we see in Kazakhstan, as we remember, the country that supplies almost half of the world's uranium. And the reason for that is because in Kazakhstan, they're one of the, besides the projects being really large, they are amenable to very, very simple and cheap extraction technologies, which makes them very, very economic. They can produce uranium there at, under $20 a pound. And in Blue Sky, we're seeing a very similar geological model, and we'll see with the PEA afterwards that we are also in a very similar potential production scenario here, cost-wise anyways. The project itself, as I stated at the outset, this is a mineral resource statement here. We have about just under 23 million pounds of uranium, 11.5 million pounds of vanadium. And our PEA that we published indicates that there are two kind of metrics that we like to focus in on here: is the pre-production, the capital cost, the initial capital cost to go into production, which are around $100 million plus a $28 million contingency. This is important because we feel we've got the Ivana deposit, and if we can identify additional deposits within a small radius surrounding the Ivana deposit, we could run this as a cluster with one capital operation. And the second thing, of course, is the cost to extract a single pound of uranium. Here, our cash cost rate came in just over $16 a pound, and if you include the all-in sustaining costs, it's just over $18 a pound. This is really, really attractive. Especially it's great knowledge to have at a very early stage of this project. And just to put this into perspective, when we plot it against other producers around the world, we see that if Ivana on its own, if it were in production, it would rank amongst the lowest cost producers in the world. So we have geologically a great project with excellent economics. Now the next stage, of course, is, can we find more of them? And that's exactly the stage that Blue Sky is in right now. Here is, again, a plan map showing the outline of the entire Amario Grande project. And we have a number of priority targets that we've numbered here. Now, the ones that we're really focused here on are numbers 1 through 4. 1, of course, representing the Ivana deposit. We just published recently results that we went back into the Ivana deposit with a twofold goal. One was to see if we can tighten up the drilling there so that we can increase the quality of the confidence we have in that deposit and take the resource that we have there from a inferred resource to an indicated resource. And the second objective there was to step out a little bit and see if there's any room for expansion. And what we got, we were successful on both accounts in that it looks at not just the deposit holds together very well, but there definitely looks like we got some great results when we stepping out, in some cases up to 1.5 kilometers outside of the Ivana deposit. So currently we're undertaking a new resource calculation for Ivana, and we'll be publishing that in the early new year. And then targets 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the next targets that we're looking to drill. We just got permits for targets number 4 and number 5. We put a press release out earlier this week, and these are very exciting targets because they have geological settings and characteristics very, very similar to what we see at Ivana. So we're looking to expand our drill program and to encompass all of this. So we're going to be busy drilling between now and right into the first quarter of 2023. And I believe that any results that we get between now and then are going to be really pivotal and have a real very strong influence on the valuation on this company. So in conclusion, here we have a great project in southern Argentina, easy access, excellent infrastructure. What's exciting is the geological setting and the characteristics. very, very comparable to Kazakhstan, some of the world's largest producing districts. The project itself already is underpinned with value, in that we've already identified a deposit. And by publishing a PEA, we also can establish a potential viability for the Ivana deposit. And what's the upside here? The upside is the potential of continuing to work on this project and watching it grow, and with the potential to rank amongst the largest uranium districts in the world with some of the lowest operating costs. So with drill programs underway, this is a story I think to watch very, very closely. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Nick. That's yeah, it's a compelling case there, and certainly this is looking like it's a district scale play for sure. And you guys have been getting some good results with those drill results. What do you, at this stage, can you give the audience a sense of how recent drilling might factor into resource estimates in the near term?
Well, the recent drilling that we published, we're going to upgrade and update the current resource estimate for our deposit, the Ivana deposit. We're going to see if we can get that upgraded so that the resource is in an indicated level. This will be very key, of course, as we begin to move the project towards pre-feasibility study in the next year. And the second thing, of course, is to incorporate some of the positive results that we stepped out and see if we can grow that. But beyond that, any results that we coming in between now and the new year, while our drill program is ongoing and all these surrounding regional targets, we think that we may be in a position where we can really grow this deposit, maybe double it, triple it, or whatever the results may come in at.
All right, very good. We have one here from the audience, from Sandeep. He says, excellent presentation. What is the it's more of a technical question here. What is the impact of shallow water on ISR in situ?
Okay. Well, right now, there's two parts to this question. Number one, we're not going to be using ISRs to put this into production. I didn't have enough time to talk about it in this presentation, but the way that the PEA envisioned production scenario at Ivana was by conventional mining, basically, and it's like a gravel operation that undergoes then through initial scrubbing, screening, and then through a leaching process that uses sodium bicarbonate. And so it's extremely cheap. It's been done around the world, and that all means that it's really low cost too.
Great, thank you for clarifying that. Another one from the audience, from Subas. He's asking, do you foresee any environmental conflict as you progress?
No, we do not, because the neat thing about our deposit here, it sits in a depression on this flat area. So any water or anything would not spill outside of that. Everything is very well contained. And plus the processes that have been envisioned to work here, we're not using any dangerous chemicals or anything. It's extremely environmentally friendly. In fact, after we're done, we will have removed, say, the uranium from this area. We will have improved the environment in that right now that area is at a low grade and radioactivity. It's got a low grade radioactivity everywhere.
That's a good point. One that can get lost in the shuffle. All right, let's. I wouldn't mind picking your brain a little bit on the uranium market. I always like doing that when you're a guest here.
Sure.
We saw that kind of run up in March. I mean, shortly after the Russia-Ukrainian invasion.
Yeah.
Price is still strong. I mean, compared to other metals, uranium's held up much better, but let's pull back a bit. What should we be looking for as key catalysts driving the U3O8 price going forward?
I think the most important catalyst and the most stable underlining the price of uranium right now is just the underlying nuclear reactor demand. As these continue to get built out or their life gets expanded, we're going to see more and more demand continuing to be there. The supply is going to remain restricted. And the next thing is there's also a shift now to move away from getting a lot of the uranium from places like Kazakhstan, which are in Russia's sphere, for geopolitical reasons. So as that's going to assist because it'll take some of the uranium off the market, so to speak. And as other countries will look for safer jurisdictions, say like Argentina or Canada or Australia.
And how much does the market respond to what's going on in Germany? I mean, everyone seems to talk about it. Is it more symbolic or is it material? So what, for the audience, after Fukushima, I would say it was a very emotional, irrational reaction in Germany, where they said we're going to get off all nuclear power plants. Of course, now with Ukraine and now with Nord Stream and everything that's going on with gas. Originally Germany's saying, correct me if I'm wrong here, Nick, was saying that we're still going to go ahead with decommissioning. I think now they're saying now we're going to extend it. We're not going to close them down.
Exactly.
There are 2 plants now. How does that factor into the overall uranium market? What does it mean?
Well, that's just it. I mean, now they're looking at actually keeping the reactors that they still have going, keeping them operational, because there's a real energy crunch coming in that part of the world. And I think there's a lot of ideology behind that nuclear reactors are bad, that extends, from previous generations, especially from the 70s and the 60s. But the reactors today are not the same as the reactors of yesterday. Reactors today are much, much safer. They're much, much more efficient. They're more economic to build. And with the whole movement towards finding a green way of generating electricity without any carbon, nuclear energy is really the most efficient way, the most safe way, and it can provide excellent, secure base load electricity. And I think that's not going to be lost amongst all countries, including Germany. I think they need to move slowly, but I think they're going to move. I think one day we're going to see new nuclear reactors being announced, being built there. That's my prediction.
Oh, there you go. I like that. A hot take from Nick.
Yes.
Very good. All right. Now, Nick, when you're outlining a district scale uranium play such as this, what goes off of my mind is capital requirements.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're talking further out and there's going to be time, but what are you thinking near term? What's your approach to raising capital, let's say over the next 12 months?
Yeah, well, obviously as an exploration company, we're always needing capital. And in fact, just announcing the other day that we got the permits for 2 our most attractive targets, and we wish to move ahead to drill them. We're going to have to approach the capital markets and raise some money in the short term here. But to develop this entire district, I mean, these districts in Kazakhstan, they had over 50 years, half a century to develop them and to advance them. I think our goal as Blue Sky is to advance Ivana and whatever else that we find within the vicinity, and then at some point partner up with a major company with deeper pockets and know-how, of course, for going into production, and then beginning to develop a new strategy for how we're going to finance the rest of development of that entire district, whether it's our company, our cash, or someone else's cash, and we just get a nice carried interest going through it.
Okay, great. And what vehicle would you be looking at? Are you looking at private placements, or how's it going to work?
We typically do private placements, so that's probably the way that we're gonna continue going. It's been successful for us, and I think we'll continue that way.
Okay. And for investors that are interested in participating, are they reaching out to you, or what's the best policy?
Reach out to me, go to our website, reach out to the company. Sean Perger is our investor relations person. He and I are both always very happy to talk to anybody.
Excellent. And we are happy to talk to you. Thank you, Nick, for taking the time, for being with us again on the Global Mining Symposium. We wish you continued success for the rest of the year. And
my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.